Welcome to Thursday night stream or Friday morning for those in Australia. Hope everyone's having a good week. We've got a new month has just started, new beginning. Before we start, I did just want to talk a little bit of mindset. I have noticed lately, over the last few weeks, let me see who's in here. There's been, yes, being recorded. There's been a few people that have just been posting in the main chat, and a lot of people that are just, showing, oh no, I've blown an account, or I sold the bottom and price reversed back the other way, or a blue account straight away on that. And I want everyone to shift away from that mindset. Like a lot of that, there's some members that just keep doing this daily over and over again, and having a toxicity mindset of constantly blowing accounts is not what we want you guys to be doing. We're here to build inventory. We're here to build foundations to grow and move up from. We need to be stepping away from negativity and bad mindsets and the gambling mindset. Like, for goodness sake, if you change your name to a gambler, honestly, go to a different Discord, because I don't want gambling people in here. I want to be here. I want to give my time to everyone to help you guys succeed, help you guys read price and be successful, and to build an inventory of accounts, to build strength and a skill set that's going to allow you to get more time back for yourselves, more time back for your family. And we need that positive talk from everyone. We need that in the chat. We need to help each other grow, not promote the demons inside as such. If we're down in a volcano, we want mods to help us climb out. We don't want to keep trying to pull other people down into the volcano. That all makes sense, guys? There's been way too much negativity and people blowing accounts, and we're not here for that. We're here to move forward. All right, let's jump in. So we have our 12-month chart. We'll be quick on this, and we'll jump down in a bit more detail into our monthly. Have our 12-month. I totally did the wrong. There's a new magic cursor. Okay, that's interesting. Gonna have to use that now with TPs. All right, down close candle here. We come back. We retest the down close candle. Unable to close below, unable to close 50% of the down close candle, and we push away. 6 monthly, we're still moving up. We came back, we've discussed this lots of times. Price comes back into that SIBI. This was also our OTE of that current range as we come back up and we push out. Price is bullish. 12 monthly, 6 monthly. 3 monthly, we have this down close swing, we push out. This was the down close swing here that also caused that breakout. We can draw a zone on that. From here down to the low, price comes back to 50% and we push up. Three monthly, we're above previous 3 month close. We've come back, we've dipped into that and we're pushing up, and then we're currently just retracing the wick at the moment. Monthly, this is what we looked at here at that 3 monthly. We have those 3 months down, we push up. This swing was what caused that breakout, and that's what caused this swing failure pattern on the monthly that we came back into. We respect 50% of that swing. That was also that OTE from the low to the high. 7-9 suit. Swing failure pattern, comes down, sweeps the low, closes back within the range. We then target the previous candle high and high of the range. We talked about we have a nice BPR in here. If we do end up getting a quarterly shift and come back, that would be a point of interest for longs. So far for the monthly, so we've opened, done a bit of a high, and we're retracing back into the previous monthly here. We can also look at this previous monthly candle. We do have a BISI down here lower as well, if needed to watch later. We're going to draw a box around this candle so we can see the 50% zone. So at the moment, we're watching 50% of this monthly candle, which we're currently getting a reaction off at the moment. Okay, weekly. We'll do weekly, daily, and then I'll drop back to the 6 hour paired with the monthly. So weekly, we have this candle here we've been watching. So this was the down close swing that was responsible for the breakout. Caused that breakout. So we're going to draw that on as a zone. Have this volume imbalance here, which we've filled. That was that huge gap up that we had. So we're currently coming back into this candle now, and we can watch 50% of that candle to hold for bullish continuation. Can also do an OTE swing on the weekly from low to high. So we can see there we hit that 0.5, and we've got other points of interest in here. And the midpoint of that is right on that 705 and 62. So if we do keep dropping, we need to watch this candle. And if we're getting body closes below 50% or not. All right, daily. Daily, we've been watching this zone here. So this was our main manipulation, which we had from April. We have that drawn across, just like we do on the 5 minute, and we're doing a standard deviation pull from that. We've been watching that SD 1.5 level for everyone that's been coming in each week. That's been our draw, and now we're possibly going into a reaccumulation pattern after SD 1.5. Ideally, what would that look like on the day? If it's an SBS, we can then draw out this swing here, similar to that candle, basically the same candle that we have on the weekly. We draw that across. We're looking for that to be support, and we can count out an SBS as it's playing out. So we have our 1 was our breakout. We're currently making 2. We can look for another high for 3, and then a sweep of 2, maybe even back to that 50%. We have a SIBI in here as well we can watch, and then we push up for 6, and we're targeting 3. So let's say, for example, we have November is doing an open low, high close, and then we go into December, and December does an open low, high close. That would then fill this fractal. Should be interesting to watch. All right, we're getting rid of this. And I'm just going to change charts here, and we're going to our 6 hour. So our 6 hour we're watching alongside with the monthly. So we're trying to work out what the monthly candle is doing, and we're using the 6 hour to plot that out. We do the same with the 1 hour and the weekly. So we'll start with this first. And I'm just going to put on the PO3 indicator here, and we'll have that set to 1 month. We can see here. So this is our current 1 month candle that's printing. So we have opened high. This was our open here. Opened high. And we're going low at the moment. We have our high swing from the end of the month that we're using here. So this is our manipulation zone. The month's opened up to 50% of that zone and pushing away, expanding away. So I'm going to pop a line across here. This is our monthly high. Make that a bit bigger. And we've currently got our low here. So as we are in quarter one here, right now we're trying to decide, is this the high of the month made in quarter one? Or are we coming down to make a low of the month in quarter one here? And then quarter two pushes up. In quarter three, we get the body of the candle, and then we make a wick of the candle in quarter four. That's what we're trying to work out. So is this the wick of the monthly candle? Or is this all becoming the wick? So this is our open. And we're possibly manipulating below, or we just had that small manipulation above, and we don't come back up here. So levels that we can look at now is that monthly 50%. So if we start closing below the previous monthly 50%, then we can look at that for plausible continuation down. And I'm watching this zone here, right? So this was the low swing that caused the breakout. So we've got a zone on there. And we also have that October 50% here, which is what we're finding support at the moment. So it's going to be an interesting few days, and next week should be interesting as well, and hopefully start to lay some more puzzle pieces next week. Can also mark out the SIBI here. So if we are manipulating below, when we're in a manipulation swing, we want to mark out the displacements, and we want to use them for invalidations, right? So we're either going to come up 50%, continue down, take that next low, or we open, come down here into quarter two, make a quarter two low, and then we come up and we flip the manipulation displacement. And then we can start looking for longs and pushing up. Once we come high, then that Q1 high, then that removes that, and then we're looking at a Q1 low of the month. So very interesting price action at the moment. We can see here with our previous month, so we had our October was here. So October, this was our whole open section, open. So this was our Q1. We made a Q2 low with this manipulation. This was also Trump news, Trump tariff with China. And then we pushed up, and the displacement within the manipulation, we come back and we flip it. We flip 50% and we push up, and that is our candle body expansion. That's what we're trying to catch. And then we go into the wick of that previous month. So that's what we're trying to work out if we're doing something similar for November. Any questions, guys? Switch to our 1 hour. And we're going to put on our weekly for the PO3. Okay, so similar like we're doing on the monthly, we're now doing on the weekly with the 1 hour. So I'm pairing the 1 hour chart with the weekly candle. I'm trying to work out the weekly high, the weekly manipulation, plus the standard deviation pull, which is ideally the body of the weekly candle, and that's what we're trying to trade. Hey, Cryptic. How you going, man? Nice to have you in here. So we have our days here. So we got Monday. So Monday we've made a high, which went into that midpoint, 50% of that previous manipulation swing from the end of October. We've broken structure. So we've manipulated above true day open and then broken below. Open high, low, close. Tuesday, we've gone into our redistribution, which we talk about happening at SD 1.5. So 1 to 1.5. We can count out an SPS from there. So once we break that low, that's our first swing. 1, we come back up for 2, 3, and then we're looking for breaks above 2, 4, 5, and we break that, concluding the, or finishing off that SPS sequence. And that drops straight down to exactly previous month 50%. So then we're trying to work out, once this happened, we're trying to work out, is this going to be low of the week? And we're going to turn around and come back up. We look for, if this is the manipulation swing, we look for displacement within the manipulation. So we can draw on that civvy. Price comes back out for an open low, high close into Wednesday. We come back up, we flip that civvy, come back, retest it here at 9 o'clock and push back up. When we have big moves like this too, it's also worth noticing the bullish candle, the up candle that caused the breakdown. Just like we've been discussing the downswings that caused the breakout, we can do the same here. And when it's a push straight down like this, those orders become unmitigated. So price needs to come back to there, which is also worth noting and watching. Price needs to come back and mitigate the longs used here to fill orders. So we can see price draws up there quite strong. And then we start to get our sell reaction. So mitigates orders used here to manipulate price and take that higher. We come back up into that civvy here, and then we get that strong push as those orders are released. You can draw this civvy on here. And we also do an OTE swing from this daily's low to high, which is part of our daily plan. As we start up each day, we do PDL, PDH, OTE, and we went straight up into 0.79 and then huge sell-off straight from there into the civvy, 7.9 gone, and also 1, 2, 3, 4. We sweep that high and push down. So currently bearish week. We've had our open high and we're trying to determine if the low's in for a Thursday low or if we're going to get a Friday low of the week. We have our standard deviation of the week here and our biggest standard deviation here from that previous week's high, which will come down to SD 3.5. So we've still got 4.5 down here and 4.5 here. What is that? Just be a sec. It's got an alert going off. That was my desk. It's like, get up and move. Okay. So you add 2 standard deviations that I'm working in here, which are coming into the lower end, and to watch for Friday. So as we do keep taking PDLs, we can just keep targeting PDLs until PDHs start getting taken, which is quite high. You know, it's a long move to get back to that previous day high. So it should be an interesting Friday. Thursday Cryptic, we did end up, I was talking with Cryptic about it being an inside day and not taking that previous day low. which is common, but we have taken the low. And a lot of expansion weeks, when bullish as well, it's more common to see a Friday low come in over the week. So watching that PDL for the draw today. Any questions on the 1 hour chart? All right, we'll jump into our daily review then. So also on the 1 hour chart, we can do, as we'll do with our daily chart setup, we can do another OTE now. All right, from here. For our points of interest for short. So say if we come up, we sweep here, pop back up, and then come back down. Be worth watching. You can also add, sometimes with expansion weeks too, price will only come back to the 0.25, so we can pop that on as well to watch for the day. All right, let's jump into our daily review. Turn off our PO3. And I'm just going to hit the replay tool so we're not looking at current price. Oops, and I'll change the PO3 to the daily so we can see the daily candle. Offset 0. Going to put on our quarters. So you can see we've had a we've had an open high, low close, and the high of the day being made here in New York and the low of the day in New York PM. High of the day coming in 8:30 there. So we've had an accumulation range for Asia and London. Manipulation coming into New York, and then distribution. Huge distribution. End up being 620 points. All right, let's go into Asia and walk our way through. These are our 4 hour candles here. 4 hour vertical lines. So first 4 hour, we've opened high here. So we've got our bearish SBS, right? We've got our breakdown, 1, 2, 3. We're waiting for sweeps of 2. We get that here. Didn't quite, normally it'll come up to that 6.2 to 7.9 area. We didn't quite get up there for this Asia. So we just get our sweep of 2, and then we get our change in state delivery here. So fix that. So once we've got that break here, we can look for shorts. If we pop that on. And we're looking for SD 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, and 4.5 for targets. Stop goes to break even after SD 1.5. So SD 1.5 straight down actually. So we normally do see that a reaccumulation or a bounce at 1.5. But it shoots back down straight to 2.5, and then we come back up into continuation to 3.5. We hit SD4. So we can TP that last account at SD4 or 4.5. Otherwise that would get hit on that retrace and back up. After SD 1.5, our first TP, we move stop loss to break even. Especially after that nice displacement there as well. You don't want to give anything back after that. So then we're going into another SBS. So we have the break below here. So we've got our 1, 2, 3, and then we can look for price to come back above 2 for additional shorts. We have 4, 5 as we come into coming into London. So this H4 was an open low, open high, low, close, and then straight away we've gone open high and down, and then it's done a reversal here. So we had another zone in here. So we had a break of structure here. We flipped the IBISI, so to get short from that IBISI here, which was part of this manipulation, right? So we're looking for zones within the manipulation swing and shorts from here. So for this trade, I was targeting the Asia low, which then becomes the end of the SBS 6. And ended up getting out after this up close candle here because ES had swept the Asia low. So we've got SMT here at the low with ES. All right, so then we come into quarter 3 of London. We get a change in state delivery again. This didn't retest the zone, it just took off. It was a bit tricky to get into, but it's the same idea if anyone managed to get the longs out of that. So SMT at the low, change in state delivery, displacement. And then we're targeting SD 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, and 4. All right. We move up. We're now going into New York AM. So that was the end of London. Comes back up, takes Asia high. So we've got Asia high here. So we've taken Asia high. We then flip it for support to move into the New York AM manipulation. So we come up, we hit SD 4.5. Got our manipulation swing. We want to look for inverted fair value gaps within the manipulation. We can see that here. And then we get our zone here. So we break here and we come back and retest. So a couple of options here for the short. The short can be taken, I like to do one account off of that manipulation for an earlier entry with less risk. Targeting SD 4.5, and then the additional accounts after the break here. And stop can either be above that fair value gap or right above the zone. And then we're targeting, same thing, 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, and 4 to 4.5. And just completely smashed, really, straight down. Hardly any reaccumulations. Little one here at SD 1.5 for 9 o'clock, right? So the new hour, open high, low close. We come back into that straight down to SD 3.5. Normally you'll see something like this at SD 2.5 as well. Come back in for the 9:30 move. Same thing, manipulation up, expansion down. Pretty nice people that managed to get into the shorts here and just ride ride this. Low, hardly any resistance there. So we can do, as it just continues and keeps expanding, we can do another zone here just for that 9:30 move. It's a key manipulation time. And we can draw that across and then do another standard deviation pull. And then same thing, we're looking at 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, and 4 to 4.5 for the low. No retests of this swing though, so very hard to get in if people were trying to chase here. Really wanted to be in up here or straight after that zone. So that was our, so this was a quarter 2 manipulation to 8:30. This happens a lot less. This is normally a 9:30, 9:45 move. Is still a key time though for a high of the day. So we come back down into that 4.5 into the PM. Have a quarter 1 manipulation. This is our low swing that breaks up. This up close candle here is within these candles, so we're not doing the standard deviation from that. We'll do it from the whole pull here. We draw another zone on. And we can also do OTE of that swing. So we swept PDL, swept all the previous sessions. We've got a change in state of delivery. We've got displacement. This here then becomes our plus OB, which we can look for orders from, or as a PD array within the zone, as there's no inverted SIBI in here. And we can look at 50% of that zone as well. So we can use the plus OB, and then we're looking for longs back up towards SD1 or 1.5. When you're against trend, you normally see price will reverse within that 1 to 1.5 zone or won't hit the 1.5. You can also look at this as another SBS, right? So we've got the 1, 2, 3, and then we're looking for sweeps above if we did want to get into a short towards the end of the day. So if we draw a line on here, we'll add that count in. 1, 2, 3. And then we're 4, 5. C of the H1 SIBI. Yeah, nice. Yeah, so if people manage to get long here off that OB, then we just want to be looking for those short-term targets. Nice SD1 there. And if we look at that 1 hour then, got the SIBI in here, right? Which cryptic was just talking about? CBCE there, exactly 50%. Very nice. So we then come up, so quarter 2 manipulation. After that, we have an IBISI in here. After hitting that CBCE, you can draw that on. Price unable to close above the CB. Testing 50% that whole time. And we can do another deviation back here. We are getting towards the end of the day though, so we're looking at more consolidation here after expansion. So less risk on these types of moves. SD 1.5. And draw another zone on there. So we can do an early entry from here. And then another entry if we wanted from here after the break of the zone. Retest the zone. Push down to SD 1.5. Accumulation. Manipulation in here for this H4. This becomes the wick of the daily. This is the body of the daily. This is what we're trying to catch during the day. And then this becomes our wick of the daily. Any questions on the daily review? Quiet group today. Yeah, Stefan, the 4.5s have been fire lately. Even some overextending, as we've seen with Cozy talking about hitting 6. When is 5 valid? 5 is hard to take, like, especially when it's like this. A lot of the time, we'll get a 5 that'll sweep 4, which would have been nice here, right? I come back up, hit VWAP, and then 5 comes down. But you just got to risk appropriately, because we know we still do get a lot of 5 being, so 5 is the lower high here, right? When we come back up, we're unable to close above the IBC. This is why we need to use those inverted fair value gaps in the manipulation. So we're trying to work out, when price is back here, if this is the manipulation swing. And that's why we're grabbing the arrays within that swing. So ideally here, we want 4 to be the high and 5 to reject here. And then come down for 6 during this price action. But you know, if we get in here and we get taken out here, then we just wait for 5. And ideally we get another inverted BISI for a manipulation swing. And we can then do another standard deviation pull as well. And then flow with that down. So it's just taking it piece by piece as those SBSs are playing out. All right, I got about 15 minutes to go. So let's quickly jump into our daily chart setup. We'll get our new one ready. Let me just clear this chart. Get rid of our PO3 and out of the replay mode. And turn on ICT kill zones and pivots, and we're going to get our PDH. So New York AM was our PDH. I'm going to drag that out to 1800. Hope everyone starts doing their daily chart setups very similar. So just have templates set that are already labeled, and then we can work our way through. And PDL. Do PDH, PDL, and then we're doing our OTE of the daily range. Because if we're looking for shorts, which we're in a bearish trend at the moment, and we're going to get a plausible Friday low of the week, we want to look for shorts and target PDLs until PDHs get taken. So we're going to do our OTE because we want to know where premium is. We don't want to short down the bottom. We want to short as high as possible so we can have the daily expansion of the candle. That's what we're after. Daily or 4-hour expansion. And we're then going to do our fixed range volume profile POC. Volume profile, and then put our POC on, sorry. Fixed range volume profile, and we're going from PDH down to PDL. We want to see where institutional volume was coming in. The volume was really thin through here. So normally we will see a big, but that's why we can see it's all just sells coming down. So there was no buyers coming in at all. So there's no peaks at all here. So we have our fixed range volume profile POC here. FRVP. All right, and then we're going to put our previous day's zones on. So we have this one from the AM. And that was our Q2. We now have a Q1 PM that we're watching at the moment. And I'll put that to the back. We're going to do a standard deviation pull from that now. Which will still be in play until we break below here. So watching 50% of that to hold until it doesn't. We're going to mark out these SD levels, and we're going to do, next we'll do our H4s first. 1800, 22, 2 a.m., 6. We want 10, 1400, and end of day. So we want to look for PD arrays within our OT area, and we're going to put on that 0.25 as well that we discussed earlier. We want our previous session levels drawn on, so we have our New York PM high here. This is our plausible dole for the move up at the moment. PM high and PM low. Always want those previous session levels on. All right, we'll turn off kill zones and pivots now. And we'll draw on SD 1.5 here to watch. And we can put the levels on if we do just keep climbing today. We'll see. Take it piece by piece. So far we have our 1800 open here, and we've opened low, and then we're pushing up. We can put that on now as a current Q1 zone, just to work with for Asia, including that high from before the open from 1650. I'm going to drag this across. So we do then watch 50% of that current zone, which is holding. I'm going to label this then Asia Q1. And we're also going to do a standard deviation of this swing. We can look at these levels as well then. So we've got 1.5 here. 2.5, which is very nice. So that is lining up with that PM high that we're watching. 3.5 and 4.5. And then this is our 200 SMA. So trying to use that 200 SMA to watch for that trend, right? So we get the break of the 200 SMA here. We want to stay bearish while we're underneath. Then bullish when we flip. So we now have an Asia standard deviation within our main deviation here from the New York PM that we're watching. Key levels are our SD 1.5 here and our PM high, SD 2.5 from this manipulation swing. If we come back down and break this, this becomes invalidated. Do we have an SBS forming in there as well? Get our break above the high, 1, 2, not really, 3. This is a bit messy here. Little manipulation there. So swing failure pattern, comes back down. Didn't quite sweep the low there. Sweeps these lows. Just like we were talking about on the monthly, guys. comes down, sweeps, closes back in the range within that previous candle, and then we target that candle's high and then the range high, which it just did straight away there. As we come out too, like this, this is a good exercise for Asia because Asia does consolidate a lot, but we can keep drawing on these 5-minute blocks as they're building up and sort of keep stepping them up, looking for 50% of each zone to keep holding as we're moving up. Yeah, break of the zone would delete it, correct. So similar to on the previous day when we were in London, here. So I had this drawn, so this was that SBS, and we come up and we sweep 2. I had this drawn as the quarter 2 manipulation. So we had the manipulation that was up here, and then I had this one drawn on as well. So I was expecting this to keep going to SD 1.5, 2.5, but we had ES swept the low here at 3 o'clock. So it was possible for a 3 o'clock open low into a high close. So while we're down here, like this zone is valid as our Q2 zone with standard deviations on for that next leg of the measurement. But as soon as we come back up, and which we did with force, closing above 50% of that zone, invalidated the SIBI within the manipulation swing and pushed straight up. We didn't even retest that SIBI, like it just went straight up. So then we delete the zone, we delete this standard deviation, and it's a Q3 manipulation here that it's actually working off of. So we rotate, adjust our mindset, and ideally we can rotate our mindset and we get a push back into here to get an entry to then hit 1.5, 2.5. But this day, this just pushed off, took all the highs here, relative equal highs from that SBS, and turned around. So one of the hardest things to do is that changing of mindset, flipping from the short zones to then a bullish zone. The other thing to look at as well as we're coming into, like when we're watching these pullbacks, is are we getting them with the hourly open, right? So we 1900 open low, and then comes into the high to close. So now we're coming into the 1800 macro. So are we going to keep pushing up and go to that next target? And is it going to be open low? And this being part of it as is the macro. So open low, high close. You know, or are we going to... So watch this line here. This is our fixed range volume profile POC. If we start breaking down here and come back up, test that, and then come back down, we also have a BISI in here. We could look at that as a zone to break down into bearish continuation. The problem with that, though, is that we're already deep in discount. We've got the PM zone just below us, watching 50% there for support. So we're like, you know, we're shorting into possible buying strength here. So I really want price back up here. I want to short from premium, and I want to get the daily candle body is what we're aiming for. Well, the idea with the 5-minute ones is that we're getting the 4-hour body, you know, whether it's in here or another 4-hour in here, and we open low and push up, or even in London. But that's why when we're trending down like this and we're just targeting PDLs, I'm not too interested in the longs or the slow grinds back up. I'm happy to watch a grind back up because I want all that liquidity that's building later on. And then I want to look at Q3 manipulations up here in London. So we have possible high of the day, 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, or a possible high of the day, 9:30 to 10:30 in here. So then we want a zone to be created around our OTE, around our SD levels, and around like unmitigated order blocks, PD arrays within those time frames, and within that OTE areas. And we just put all the puzzles pieces together and be patient and then look for those moves. So we come back up. Let's just draw that 2.5 line across 2 as well. See if we're hitting that yet. Almost. So it should be interesting. But yeah, don't get worn out in the Asia price action, especially in these 2 4-hour levels. Definitely tight risk. But ideally, we just get that nice grind up, sweet PM high. Can look for shorts in London, and if it just keeps going up and that manipulates down, then we look for shorts up here. If price continues to fall without getting to OTE, how would you treat that? Yeah, so if we are grinding up into London, then I'm going to look for shorts above that PM high and wherever that Asia high comes into at that key time, so around that 3:30. Ideally looking for this 4-hour here to give us an open high into 3:30, 3:45, low close. Say we do this. Then I'm going to put a zone on there. So let's say Asia high is about here, right? We sweep Asia high, we sweep PM high, we get a zone, we get a breakdown, we get a PD array within the zone, ideally an inverted BISI there. We come back up, we do our OTE swing from the high to the low. And then we do our standard deviation pull after that break. Looking at this to be 4 o'clock macro for a 4 o'clock open high, low close. And then I'm going to short from that box. Down to each standard deviation level. I do it over multiple accounts, so one account gets out at 1.5, one at 2.5, 3.5, and 4.5. And I want those targets to align with previous session lows, liquidity levels. Always good when they line up with something. So we can see if it does play out like this, we've got that SD 2.5 at that fixed range volume profile POC. And then, wherever Asia low lands, so Asia's just opening now at 2000. So if this becomes Asia low, then I'm pretty happy SD 2.5 lines up with Asia low. Always good to see these lining up with stuff on the left side. Liquidity here. When we take the liquidity. And then if it just keeps grinding up, that didn't work very well, into New York, we do the same thing over here. So 9:30, 9:45, we get our break, we come back for a new H4, ideally looking for an open high, low close into the H4. Push them over to, and we do the same thing. Looking at each SD level, and then we're lining up the SD levels with the London session. So we want to see where the London low comes in, as well as wherever the Asia low is. And then that's adding confluence to each of those SD levels on the way down. So we're looking, we want those entries to be as the H1 is coming back up. H1's coming back up for an open high. That's when we want to get in. We want that manipulation of the H1 to show that we're getting in within the wick, which has less chance of hitting our stop. And then we want to ride the candle body on the H1, on the H4 as well if we can, especially over here. And ride that body down each SD level. Cool. If we do just come back and start flipping these zones, and we come back and flip PDL to continue down, I won't be interested in any positions because I want that. I always prefer the internal liquidity. So I've got that range to target alongside the SD levels. Once we're just breaking down like that and say we come back up and retest PDL. So we could get a London manipulation like this, retesting PDL and then just going down. But I don't want to trade that. I want to trade with information to the left of what I'm trading. All right, guys. Hope that helps there. Some very nice SD levels. Like we hit SD 4.5, we rotate, come back down. Had SD 4.5 from that 930 swing down here. We rotate and we come back. All works very well. So PDL for the dog today, and we want price as high as possible so we get the biggest move. No worries, Tony. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. And we'll see you in the next one.